Wow, I don't know what this is picking up, but I don't care. I want to get this on while it's happening. Scripture talks about those who've had their imaginations darkened. And we've come to think, we've twisted everything over the years. Imagination means nothing more today than being able to make up things. It's your imagination running away with itself kind of talk. And the thing is, our imagination, our ability to image things that are not seen in this world. It's interesting that all these fairy tales have unicorns and all these things, and then make it out to all be just completely make-believe. And the Bible talks about unicorns and dragons, and most of those legends came from real things. Giants, they just found a 36-foot humanoid, whatever, looks like a skeleton of us, only it's 36 feet tall. You can't argue with that kind of evidence. But our ability to image, to imagine, is vital, because that's what allows us to see into the spiritual realm in a sense of understanding. I don't see any hallucinations or anything that isn't visible by anybody else, including my cat. But I see into events, and I see into I see the spiritual goings on behind the physical events. And that's what our imagination allows us to have. And this world, you think about this world does its best to destroy your imagination. You're to shut up and get in line and, hear nothing, see nothing, do nothing, be nothing. This world is, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness, twistedness in high places. It's a spiritual war that's going on. And, like, I think it was Einstein that said, truth, that thing that whether you believe it or not, there it is. What is going to be is what's going to be. It's not going to be what I hope it is, or what I think it is, or what you believe it is, or what anybody... It's going to be what it's going to be. And it's foolish for us to have our agendas going to the point that we try and convince other people that things are the way we believe it is, rather than going, how is it really? How it is really is what's going to be. And it doesn't matter what you believe about it, or whether you like it or not. That's a fact. It's going to be what it's going to be. You know, I can ask you what's in that box right there, and you can surmise all day long. And you could come up with a billion different ideas of what's in that box. But guess what? What's in the box is what's in the box. And it doesn't matter which one of your ideas you chose to believe. It's what's in the box. Reality is something we've lost total touch with. We don't even realize, first of all, that God is real. He created us. And we don't even want to acknowledge that. As a species, we've gotten so full of ourselves, we've begun to kick God out of our schools, out of our government, out of our Pledge of Allegiance, out of everything we can get him out of, and then we wonder why things are going to hell in a handbasket. We're a stupid species. Without God, we don't have the sense of a bunch of rocks. With God, everything becomes clear. Everything all of a sudden makes sense. Every single thing that I see, I don't like it, but it makes sense. It totally makes sense. And without God, nothing made sense. I tried to put it all together in my head 1,000 different ways, and it never added up. It never made any sense whatsoever. I opened the door to God. He is light. God is light, and God is love. And when you open the door to that, you've got light to see. You're not walking in the dark anymore. It all makes sense. You can see what's happening. If you can't see what's happening, please go to God and ask Him. Ask Him to come into your life and be your light, because without Him there is no light. First thing He created visibly was light. And He is light spiritually. He's light for our souls. He's guidance. He knows every turn that we need to make. And when He says, if ye know if you know my commandments, happy are ye if you do them. Why? Because He made us, and He knows what we need to be happy. We do not. Obviously. Look around the world. We got people thinking crime is the answer. We've got people thinking sex is the answer. Drugs are the answer. Religion is the answer. NASCAR is the answer. We've got people looking everywhere, and they're just walking around blindly in the dark, and they're hating each other, and they're divisive against each other, and they're killing each other. And does any of that make sense to you? It makes sense to me because God is light, and He shows you every step you need to make, and He doesn't always tell you why you need to make it. We're supposed to just trust. And when He says turn right, Eric Clapton did a great song called I'm Going Left Till You Lead Me to the Right. That's what we do. We just go on our way, but when He leads to the right, we follow. Till you lead me to the right, not even after. As soon as you lead me to the right, I'll go to the right. And when we're walking, just living our lives, we know when God's speaking to us. We know when we're supposed to do something or not supposed to do something. And we know what we're choosing at any given moment. We're choosing either to obey God or to disobey God. And the choices that we make, it's like we're walking through a maze, and God's up here and can see the whole maze. Turn left. No, turn right there. Okay, go straight. Nope, go straight. Okay, He can see the whole thing. We cannot. We're in a maze. We're just up against a wall every time we turn around. And we are so rebellious and so prideful and so arrogant that we'll try and figure things out rather than go to God. And then we wonder why we fall on our face. We wonder why things don't work out. We wonder why we're just constantly wondering why. Wandering around in the dark. And that's needless and foolish when the light is right there going, let me in. Just let me in. We don't let Him in because we don't want Him to see what He already knows is there. It's us that doesn't want to look at it. We don't want other people to see it either. We know all our own dirty laundry, and we don't want the light shining on it. Well, it's going to one day, one way or another. Like it or not, it's all coming to the light. There's nothing hid that shall not be known. Nothing. We come to the light, it's frightening, and it's not real comfortable at that particular moment. It brings you to your knees. The most marvelous place you could possibly be. When you are honestly, actually, on your knees, in your heart's on its knees before God, because you know that you don't have anything, nothing. And you know that He has it all and He's going to give it to you. If you'll just ask. He said, ask and ye shall receive. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. It's fantastic how many things God has opened unto me because I've asked. I remember being totally confused about, well, God, if you knew everything, why did you create sin? And I read that was a question in my heart, and I was afraid to ask Him because it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God, and I don't want to make Him mad. But I had that question. Now, I could pretend I don't have that question and come up with some cockamamie idea, which is what unfortunately, a whole lot of preachers have done, and they're passing on that stuff to their flocks. Get real with Him. There's nothing about you He doesn't know better than you do. He knows every molecule of your being. He knows every thought you've ever had. He knows everything you've ever done. And He hasn't squashed you like a bug. He knows all that. Give it up. Give it up. What are you hanging on to it for? Let it go. That's the cool thing, is He takes it away. If you'll give it up, He will take it away. All the shame and the guilt and the fear and everything you've ever had in your life, can be gone. Absolutely gone. And we step back into our flesh, in our minds, all the time. And we have to, that's why he said pray without ceasing. We have to bolster ourselves into the spiritual mindset, because we're flawed beings, and there's a part of us that loves sin. That's just a fact. There's a part of us that loves getting away with things, that loves pulling off something on somebody, whether it hurts them or not. There's a part of us that's evil, and a lot of us have kept that at bay. But look around the world. How many people have let the evil in them just completely overtake them and wind up blowing themselves up and killing 100 and some odd people in the process? And I mean, there's evil at work in this world, and it's always available. It is always available, but so is God. Now, we are not good or bad. We just are sinful beings. Okay? We give in to one spirit or the other. Like Bob Dylan said, he said it perfectly. You're going to serve somebody. You're going to serve somebody. It may be the devil, it may be the Lord, but you're going to serve somebody. Everything we do is guided by one or the other of those beings, those spirits. Good and evil, right and wrong, God and Satan. You can't deny their existence and their work in the world. All you got to do is watch the 6 o'clock news, and you can see evil at work. So, accepting that about ourselves, realizing that, evil exists in me. I can give in to it at any moment, or I can deny it and give in to God, who's saying, no, turn right here. No, don't say that. You're going to stir up strife. Yeah, he speaks to you if you're listening. He speaks to you all the time. And I believe pray without ceasing means be in that communication with him all the time, where we're listening. We're not just, prayer is not just running our heads about what we want. Prayer is a two-way street. It's a conversation with your own Creator. Think of that. Think of the enormous privilege it is to even have a relationship with our Creator, especially after what we've done to Him. It's an amazing grace, amazing privilege to have a relationship with God. And He is speaking to you if you're listening. Maybe I ought to leave you to ask that of God yourself. I don't think I answered the question, but I asked the question, why'd you create sin? And He told me very clearly, very, very quickly. It just, the answer was right in my mind. I was no longer confused about it. no longer conflicted in any way, shape, or form about it. He said, I didn't create sin. I gave you a free choice, and you chose to disobey, and that is sin. We created sin. And because of that, we became sinful beings. We don't have to teach our kids to disobey or to do things we told them not to. We have to teach them to obey. We have to teach them the good, because the bad is naturally there. If you've ever had a child, you know that rebellious nature is in every human being. And that's what it is rebellion. And that's why the spirit of rebellion is as witchcraft, Paul said. And we do not want to be rebellious against our Creator. Not after everything He's done for us. We do not, because the day is coming when the doors of mercy will close. You can only spit in His face so many times before He just says, okay, I turn you over to your own way. You're going to find that your own way is going to destroy you, because you do not know how to live. He knows what you need to do to live. Really live, not exist, not be on some treadmill that you call your life, but how to really live. You don't have a clue. You're in that maze. You don't know what's coming tomorrow. You don't know how do you prepare yourself for something that you have no idea is going to come? I have a friend whose 11-year-old son killed himself. How do you prepare yourself for something like that? You're in a maze. You don't know that's coming. And when it does come, it will flip you on your head, and you won't have a clue what to do. And that's when you go to God, and He will tell you what to do. And if you do what He says to do, wow, everything falls into place. And it doesn't mean everything's easy and everything's fun and everything's just fine. It means God loves you, and everything in the end will be fine. Nothing's going to be absolutely fine as long as we're in this world, because nothing about this world is in tune with God. If I tune that guitar over there to itself, and I don't use a 440 tuner, it may think, boy, it may sound really good. I mean, by itself, because it's tuned to itself, and so it sounds good by itself. Start playing it with a piano, and it'll sound horrible. Well, everything that we've, as a human species, everything that we have tuned ourselves to started off based on a lie to start with. So, and we've tuned to all these lies. We've tuned into all these lies. Catholic Church uses the Bible as their supposed authority, and the Bible specifically says, call no man father, and no one can forgive sins but God. And they're using that very book to have you call them Father and to tell you that they have forgiven your sins. You see what I mean? They're not tuned in to the truth of the Word. They're tuned in to some false doctrine that has become completely globally accepted. And then the propaganda, every movie that has any spiritual person in it at all, they're a priest. Which just conditions people to accept a priest as being spiritual authority. And they have none. None. You cannot follow Jesus and not piss some people off. That's all there is to it. Boy, everything he did pissed off the scribes and the Pharisees. Everything he did and said. Why? Because all their false doctrines were being brought to the light. And it's no different now. No different now. You speak out for Jesus Christ and you will be laughed at, looked at as a weirdo, a nutcase, a tinfoil hat wearing idiot. You will be demonized. And if you know Jesus and you are tuned in to Him, He is the way, the truth, and the life. You're tuned into life when you're tuned into truth. And He is the truth. Without that connection, without that tuning, you're tuned to something else. Anything else besides the truth is falsehood. If it's not truth, it's a lie. Period. We've got to realize there is not 50 shades of gray. He said, he that's not with me is against me. Period. It's a line drawn in the sand, and this is why Christians are going to be singled out as possible terrorists. Because we don't give in to political correctness and lies. And we will call a spade, tell it like it is. And that's what all Jesus did, and it got him killed. Well, you're going to leave this world somehow, someday, some way. I would rather go for Jesus and be a testimony unto Him than fade away in my sleep in a nursing home or whatever. You're going to leave here one day. You're going to die. You're not going to be here 100 years from now, period. Where are you going to be? I hope with Jesus. He hopes with Him. He didn't die so that you could go to hell. He died so that you could not go to hell. And that's your only hope not to, is a relationship with Jesus Christ. Not a church membership, a relationship with a real living being. Jesus Christ is alive and real, and He's here, and He's everywhere. He's omnipotent. He's God, and He's beyond anything we can comprehend. It amazes me how many people, because they can't comprehend Him, just write it off as foolishness. They want a God they can put in a box. If you can totally understand your God, he ain't much of a God. My God is beyond comprehension, beyond any understanding we could ever come up with. And he's more loving than you can ever imagine. If you haven't, please go to him. If you have, go back to him again and again and again and again and again and again and again. God bless you, and I'll talk to you again soon.